You're amazing.
Yeah. The great Zamboni tragedy of 23.
Absolutely tragic. The worst thing to happen to
So what-
Ralston, Alberta, Canada.
Do they squeegee it by hand?
I think someone did actually.
They took a mop to it.
Was it prison labor? Did they like?
They're probably happy to help.
So I'm sure everyone would actually pitch in if
Yeah. Oh, anything to support the town, eh?
anything to support the town, eh?
I'm just doing my civic duty.
That's spot on, Jack.
I feel like it could also be from Minnesota, the Zamboni and the accent, you know.
Both could be
very
from
similar,
there.
actually. The Minnesota and Canadian.
Oofta.
Oh, sure, there.
Yeah. And oofta.
Oofta.
Like, give us an example.
Oh, I dropped my bag. Oofta.
Like
Everybody says it. It's the weirdest thing.
Oofta.
Oofta.
So funny.
That is interesting.
Literal oofta.
Oofta.
Yeah. See, that's how you know it's authentic. It's too weird to be able to make up.
Oh, you guys. Okay.
Makeup.
Okay, I'm gonna kind of do like a little introduction of each of you.
Ooh.
Yeah, fancy. And then I'll ask some questions. We can talk about our it'll be like a therapy session for us. We can talk about our moves.
The airing of grievances.
Yes. Yeah. This one's for you, Mom and Dad. Just kidding.
Shout out to you.
So Dad does that when we have lunch together. Sometimes he's like, "So, like this time, like, what were your thoughts during, this like specific time?" Because I think he knows I'm in therapy, and so he knows that I bring stuff up, and I think he wants to know my thoughts and feelings, and I'll talk about them. So we'll.
Well, that's good.
Yeah.
Well, this will just be a big therapy session.
Yeah.
Okay, so I thank you guys so much for being here. First of all, you guys are the best. Okay, so I'm gonna start with Allie. Allie is the second oldest. I should probably say we do have an older brother, Ben. But he wasn't able to be here, and we did warn him he's not here, so he can't defend himself. So not our fault.
To be fair, though, if he was here, he could defend himself, but we would still throw it at him, right?
Yeah. Okay. So Allie is the second oldest. She lives in Minnesota with her family. She has 3 kids, a very cute dog, and is currently working on a master's of elementary education. And she probably has the most energy out of all of us. Would you guys agree?
Yeah, she probably has all of our energy combined.
Yeah.
Except the possible exception of you, Elizabeth.
Yes. Oh, that's good.
Mm-hmm.
Elizabeth,
post-nap, yes. It's true. I need a nap first. Allie and her husband enjoy doing half Ironmans together. And Allie is very... Yeah. Cool couple.
A half Ironman.
Hey,
it's
almost
not
2 halves make a whole, Allie. 2 halves.
Yeah. Allie is passionate and very loving. She always makes people feel loved and heard. And Abby currently lives in Alberta, Canada. And we'll be moving to Cyprus soon.
Yeah.
Which is very exciting. She married a British dentist. I laughed at that.
You sound like a gold digger.
No, it sounds like you're married to a mythical creature.
Oliver pretty much is a mythical creature.
Oxymoron, isn't it?
That's true. Abby also has 3 kids, and she has the amazing ability to keep us even keeled while also having a lot of fun. She and her family enjoy playing hockey in the Canadian cold when the Zamboni's working.
Yeah.
Jack lives in Bountiful, Utah, and has an amazing wife and 2 cats. He currently works at This Is a Place Park as the customer relations supervisor and as a researcher. Jack is the wittiest and cleverest guy I know, and there is never a dull moment when Jack is around.
Absolutely.
Okay, so this is kind of my thoughts, and we can kind of see where our conversation takes us. But so I wanted to talk about our moves. And I think
as James says.
Where is that what he says? That's perfect. We need James. I think it's really interesting. We all moved a lot, but we also, because of our ages and like stages of life, I think we had such different experiences with each move. And so, like, I feel like not all of us were there for all the moves, first of all. And also, I just think our experiences were so vastly different. And so I just kind of wanted to start walking through our different moves, maybe talk about them, maybe some things we remember or experienced, and then also just kind of generally how it affected us, whether good or for bad. Which we know there's a lot of both. So I don't know. So yeah, I guess I don't know how Jack and Abby feel, or even you, Allie, but like we were born in the East. Both Allie and I were born in New York. And Abby was Connecticut, Jack was New Jersey. And like for me, whenever I go back to the East Coast, I feel like at home. Even though we were there when like we moved from the East Coast to the Midwest when I was in 3rd grade. So like that's still pretty young, but like I still feel at home when I go there. Like
Yeah.
I consider myself like an East Coast person, even though it was just like that short time. Do you guys feel the same?
Yeah.
Yes, I think I definitely don't see New Jersey as home.
Yeah.
I just don't remember much of it. I think Utah kind of for me, but I'd say more Indiana, like being in Indiana, that familiar kind of feel.
Yeah.
Just the other day, I was actually going on Google Maps and like doing a street view of our old neighborhood, and that was cool but weird. I was like, whoa. So
Yeah.
The trees are actually grown now.
Yeah.
They actually look nice.
Instead of like
and it was interesting comparing seeing it, and like I could actually go back and see when they did it back like first in 2006 or whenever, and it was interesting to compare that to my memory, to my childhood recollections, and compare that. So yeah, I'm sure that's something that will factor into our experiences.
Yeah, no, I think that's such a good point. So cuz yeah, Jack, you're born in New Jersey, and then we moved to Vermont.
Mm-hmm.
And when we moved to Indiana, you were still like so little.
I was like 3, I think.
Yeah.
3 or 4, yeah.
And so I feel like the East Coast, I mean, you went back for like in like Montreal, but I feel like that was different.
That's a whole other
Yeah, it's a whole other like thing. But like, it's like I feel like you were so young, and then we moved to Indiana, and Indiana I feel like was such an interesting time for all of us. I feel like it was just like a good, I don't know, good and bad. Okay, every place is good and bad. but like I just feel like we all have pretty good like feelings and memories of Indiana.
Yeah.
Was that in the year 2000?
Yes.
Year 2000. Was it
Y2K.
2000? I don't know. Yeah.
I
for me
remember
as well.
Y2K, like 2000 happened in Vermont though. I remember the fear. Like all the computers are gonna shut down, we're all gonna
Y2K.
die. And I was freaking out.
Well,
You don't remember this?
you and the rest of the country, yeah.
Yeah. Yeah. It was really scary. And
I
then everything
remember
was
just
fine.
being curious, like what's gonna happen? I don't know.
I think I was oblivious because I was too young. I think I have a skewed memory of Indiana because we were there when I was really young. And so I think just in general, childhood memories from the ages I was is all in rose-colored glass, right? I think like there's not a lot I wasn't happy with in Indiana because also just life was good at that age too. I had no worries, I had no concerns. I remember just before we moved, Clay Junior High was hard. But I only had to do that for like a few months because then we moved to Utah. But like the end was, I could see it getting a bit harder because it was such a tough school. But then I didn't have to deal with
Prairie
it.
Trace was a great elementary school.
It was
Yeah, I
amazing.
liked Prairie Trace.
Yeah.
Hey Biff, is there a
Well-
reason we can't see
Do you see something funny?
Oh no, we just can't I can't see you. Is that normal?
Oh,
I can see you.
I can see it.
Oh, I can't see you. Sorry.
okay. Hopefully, I can see
Um,
everyone. So hopefully,
Do you
Okay.
remember? I felt like it probably wasn't every 4th of July barbecue, but I feel like at least 2 there was a tornado.
Yes.
yes,
I remember
yes.
a tornado at Thanksgiving and all the uncles were like standing outside on our porch. We're like, get inside.
And all the moms
Thanksgiving?
were like,
I don't think it was
"Everyone get inside."
Thanksgiving.
Was
Wasn't
it?
there one
Or-
at Thanksgiving?
I remember it sometime. Maybe
But
it was
I
Fourth
think
of
it was during the
July.
summers.
Okay, because I thought there was one when like a whole like loads of our family were visiting and
Was it
lots
Labor
of
Day?
the
Maybe.
dads were watching
Maybe.
it outside. I don't remember.
Yeah, I don't remember when it
It was
was.
sometime.
I do remember them outside, but that was in the summer,
Oh, okay. Maybe I'm remembering the wrong time of year.
4th of July or something.
Having that pond in the backyard, so cool.
That was
Except when
awesome.
Except when the trampoline flew into it.
Yeah, well,
Yeah.
it happened once or twice.
You
maybe.
know, oh, many times. Okay, I wonder why Mom and Dad never like anchored it.
Put
You know,
sandbags on them.
put sandbags. Like,
Do you think as soon as our trampoline flew away once out here, we
Yes.
put sandbags on it?
I know.
So, yeah, yeah.
We'll have to ask them that question.
Well, has Dad ever been inside like a Home Depot or Lowe's? Like,
That's true. I don't know.
This much love, right? Like, I didn't know about those stores until I married Brandon. Mom
Yeah,
might
I
have
think I
taken
went
us,
inside
but I
once.
don't
Yeah.
think Dad has ever taken me to.
No.
I love it.
How did home projects get done?
They didn't.
I think did it. Or
Mom would help do some of it.
Oh, wait, we moved. That's what happened.
that's it.
The home projects.
We didn't do home projects. We just left.
We just waited it
We
out.
left it for the next owner.
Or
Okay.
Mom just did them without us knowing.
What, Abby?
That's true.
Or Mom just did them without us knowing. Or Dad as well. I don't know what went on after bedtime. That's not meant to be a suggestion.
We all were thinking it.
We're all thinking it.
Home project.
Okay.
So, sorry to backtrack a tiny bit, but yes, for me, the East Coast is my childhood because we moved to Indiana when I was 11. I was turning 12 that year, so it was very much like.
Oh, there you go.
Sorry,
You're back.
So for me, it like the East Coast made me, and I totally have the same as Abby, just rose-colored, lenses. Like everything was so beautiful and fun. I do remember some hard times, but most of it was idyllic, and
Magic.
then Indiana was like when it was the age, and I didn't have friends, and for years I really struggled. And anyway, there are a lot of different things. So Indiana's wonderful, but it also was like the most difficult years of my growing up life. So
What ages was that, Allie?
11 to 16, almost 17.
Okay.
Wait,
I'm
11 to 16, because we were there
You were in Indiana for 5 years, right?
5.5.
yeah, 5
Yeah.
years.
Also, what was with our family and moving in the middle of the school year?
I don't know. But Allie, I'm glad you brought that up because, like, I do have good feelings and memories of Indiana, and it actually has taken me since like really until I married Garen. So I was like 24, 25 when I started to kind of recognize like the bad, the hard of Indiana, and like and I think too, like, I think our family culture around moving is like we just kind of jump in, we just kind of you know, do our best, stay positive, you know, just make it work, right? Because you have to, right? You don't really have a choice. So I think for a long time I had this like very positive outlook, saying like, oh, like it was great, like, you know, we made great friends, and we did. But like I look back and like we moved when I was in the middle of 3rd grade to Indiana, and I look back and like that was the first time where I started like feeling self-conscious of like how I looked and how I appeared to other people. Was that move, like being new and like, and just that age, and that like, and like making friends. And I think it took me a long time to make friends, not until like the Clausens moved, our friends in the neighborhood and in our church. But yeah, like it's really interesting to look back and kind of be like, oh, actually, like that was really hard. Like that sucked. And to kind of like unpack that. And yeah.
So one thing I will say, sort of on that note, is that obviously our family was a constant in different places we moved to, but church was also sort of a constant.
Yeah.
And it was almost like we had a ready-made community. And I'm sure it took different forms and things like that, but you know, for good or ill, that was a big influence on us. I know for me at least, like that, knowing that was something that was there, and just expecting like, oh, of course, you know, we're gonna get to know the church community wherever we are, that kind of thing.
Yeah, that's true. And I think it was a support system like built in to wherever we were.
And I think the thing that was helpful with that as well is, even though it was always new people, the way that our church is run, it's the same everywhere, right? And so I think that familiarity was comforting with each move. Was no matter where we moved, no matter how different it was, there was some level of familiarity at church, I found, in my experience. Which is comforting.
Yeah, and especially in like different places, like
even
overseas. Yeah, Montreal.
Even, I mean, it was slimmer, but even in Montreal, they were familiar.
One of the weirdest places ever.
Seriously.
Was it the same church?
Well, we in the mission, we had a saying that the church isn't true in French, and basically it's that it was, you know, a little bit of Anglophone chauvinism, but it was this kind of this view of the French units as like really petty and like not really part of the true gospel or whatever. It was weird. Looking back, I'm like, you know, it's interesting how things when you move to a place are informed by your own biases and stuff like that. But and you take those with you.
Sorry.
area.
Yeah.
So here's a question, if I may.
Yeah.
What do you think your respective accents are like? Like, what is the biggest influence on the way that you speak?
I don't know. Like, I feel like you would have to tell me.
Because
people have asked, like, where are you from? I can't tell by your accent. Do they say that to you guys?
Yep.
Yeah.
Yeah, I don't have a specific accent. It's funny because I think that because of our moving around, you know, there wasn't really a set hold. And then our vocabulary and like our unique idioms, maybe not idioms, but like certain word choices were informed by our parents growing up in the East, but having their parents from Utah. So, like, for instance, if we say roly-poly or potato bug or pill bug, you know, or if we say soda, pop, you know, like that kind of thing. I feel like that, and it's not even consistent. It's not consistent regionally. That's one thing I've realized for me, for Mom, when we say things. It's not like, because usually people in Utah say the same version of all these different things. And for us, for the Tingeys, it's like, you know, all these different things.
Yeah, we have lots of words. I remember moving to Indiana and people calling soda pop. And I was like, what are you talking about? Like, what is pop? Like Pop Rocks? Like, I was like so confused. But yeah, it's different. Okay, also, random question. So the Christmas song, Rudolph the Red-Nosed Reindeer, which historical figure do you guys say?
George Washington and Abe Lincoln.
Like Columbus.
Like George Washington. Okay. Yeah,
and
I think I started saying George Washington in Indiana, right? Because I grew up.
Yeah.
Okay, maybe I can't remember which one was which, but I remember going to Indiana.
Of the two, I guess I would prefer George Washington.
George Washington.
Yeah. Like Indigenous Peoples Day.
I think George Washington was the East, but maybe not, because I remember saying like George Washington, everyone saying like Columbus, and I was like, what? Like,
right?
What?
Maybe it was George Washington, because you're right. Because I always say like George Washington and Columbus, and I think I started saying that because of Indiana.
Yeah, because of Indiana.
Yeah, like George Washington and Abe Lincoln.
Okay. Do you remember we were singing Rudolph and the part where it's like used to laugh and call him names, and then Dad yelled like fudge face? Were any of you there?
No.
Like, what? He's like, what? That was an insult when I was a kid.
Good one, Dad. You really got him there.
Like, that was what came to him. We're all like, yeah.
Do I say the itsy bitsy spider, or do you say the eensy weensy spider?
Itsy bitsy.
I say itsy bitsy.
Eensy weensy.
Eensy
spider. Yeah.
The itsy bitsy spider.
Itsy bitsy. I don't know.
I don't know what I say.
Yeah.
I've seen it both ways in books.
It's funny. So I guess the Tingeys, our Tingey generation, has its roots in the East, but we don't say hoagie or grinder, do we?
I don't even know what a grinder is.
Like a hoagie roll?
Yeah, but like a sandwich.
Like a
sandwich? Would you say a sub sandwich, or would you say a grinder or a hoagie?
Sub.
I would say a sub or a hoagie.
And now, to be fair, a lot of that is the like mini globalization in the United States, that like regional distinctions are over the years becoming less and less obvious, just because people are able to travel so much and stuff like that.
Yeah.
But there are still regional differences, and Utah is a great example of that. There's a lot of weird Utah stuff, and I'm sure that was a culture shock for you guys in high school.
Yeah. So yeah, we moved to Utah when I was a freshman.
The middle of my junior year.
That's right.
Allie. Brutal.
Yeah.
A moment of silence for Allie.
A moment of silence for Allie.
Thanks, guys. I mean, it ended
Poor
up
Allie.
being great. Honestly, like that was actually one of the best moves because
Yeah?
of Chrissy Crowder. Shout out to Chrissy Crowder. But like honestly, she just was like, "Hey, let me have you meet my friends," and then
The Crowders are amazing.
yeah. So
Yeah.
Chrissy actually reached out to me on social media. We chat kind of on and off.
Good.
She's really cool. Yeah, we share
Yeah, she's
similar
awesome.
views and opinions, and so we sometimes talk about that. So
That's awesome.
Yeah, same here.
But
yeah, Park City.
Well, Allie, I always remember. I mean, I don't know how often it happened, but it felt like your friends were over a lot, or at least I was like there interacting with some of your friends, like doing volleyball, getting hit in the head by the volleyball. I'm building a sandcastle or whatever, and then all of a sudden I get clocked in the noggin.
Building a sandcastle on the volleyball court, should we say?
Well, and then when Jeff Holt slapped my sunburn.
I remember his handprint.
I showed him my sunburned chest, and he slapped me.
Uh-oh. Sorry, it froze.
You laughed so hard it froze.
Oh my goodness. Park City was a good time, but also it was hard for me.
Yeah.
That was a hard move.
Yeah. My senior year was also hard. That's why I hung out with Biff and you guys a lot. That was fun.
Because
Yeah, we hung out with each other a lot.
A lot of your friends graduated, didn't they, Allie, after your junior year?
Yeah, because Chrissy was a year older.
Yeah.
So I became friends with her friends, and then they all graduated. And then
I remember.
And your boyf.
Yeah.
Boyfriend.
Uh-huh.
Boy.
Archie.
Shout out.
Archie.
He's a good guy. He's a good guy.
And then do you remember when
Dallin?
Yeah, Dallin.
Yeah, Dallin and Jeff.
Then
Hunter
we hung
Brown.
out with Jeff and Andrew and Biff, and we would just do crazy stuff and try to tame them.
It's awesome.
Do you remember when we moved from the buckboard house to the Saddleback house, like just across the highway?
Yeah. And there's like an old rickety trailer.
I was like, okay, yeah. I remember house hunting. Do you guys remember doing that? I remember. I still remember this one house on the corner of Saddleback and Wrangler that we saw. Abby, do you remember that? Remember seeing that? There were a bunch of skylights everywhere in that house.
Yeah.
And then every time I would walk by it, I was like, "Oh, hey, we almost moved to that house."
I don't remember that in Park City. Interesting.
Yeah.
Me neither.
I wonder. Yeah.
Maybe you guys were at lacrosse or something, and me and Jack were dragged along to the viewing.
Probably.
So I bought on eBay. I bought a book that I used to read when I was a kid. Actually, several of my old books for very cheap. But like I specifically looked for the old books I used to read while I was sitting in the auditorium during you guys' rehearsals, performances, and stuff like that. And I would open these books and read and listen to the musicals you guys are in and stuff like that. And so it was fun.
The mighty bless you.
Mm-hmm.
You guys
So it's How to Succeed.
That's right.
You're a Good Man, Charlie Brown.
Yeah. Jack, you deserve a medal for most
Abby,
supportive.
Jack.
And Abby as well, because I feel like she was, you were also to almost all, and then because it was a while before Abby, you were doing your own activities
Yeah, it's probably
there's
more
enough of a
like
gap.
Treasure Mountain.
yeah.
Basketball.
Because by the time I got to that age, there wasn't really anyone that would, like, besides mom and dad, of course.
Well, and then in Montreal, there weren't really sports. There weren't sports at school, so we didn't.
I never did sports. Yeah, I did some extracurriculars, which siblings weren't really able to go to.
You did cross country in London, and I went to one of your meets.
Yes, that was fun.
Jack ran.
Yeah,
I know, right? That was before I got fat.
Jack.
And then, of course, which I feel like we mentioned this recently.
We all went to
Les Mis, yes. And
was
the
awesome.
play that I was in, that you three were there, and
That was so good.
Was it a comedy?
so I was mad, but my director was like, "Who keeps laughing?" I'm like, "It's my sister."
It was like a really serious play, and we could not hold it together. Every time Jack came on, we were just like,
Yeah, because like You guys didn't think of me as a serious kid.
Well, no, you did so good. Like, I remember it being so good, but I don't know why we were laughing.
Yeah. Why then?
Well, maybe I don't know.
We probably just weren't smart enough to know that it was serious.
That's true. You probably thought it was supposed to be funny.
It was like a satire? Is that what it
Yeah.
Let's see, at that time, so really, Ashley and I, yesterday, we watched Battle of Songbirds and Snakes.
Oh, is it good?
The new one?
It is so good.
Ooh.
It is. I watching it, I was just like, oh.
Did you read the book at all? Has anyone read the book?
Yes.
No,
Was
I
that
haven't
good
read
as
it.
well?
Yes, both are very good. You like root for Snow and you forget that he's Snow and you're like, oh wait. I was like, but
Well, he's Snow before he became Snow, isn't
yes. But anyway, fabulous film. Music is incredible. They use a lot of the same themes, but there's a lot of singing. Rachel Ziegler sings a lot. She's really good.
Interesting.
Anyway, I bring this up though because I remember watching Mockingjay Part 1 with you, with Abby and Elizabeth, in Provo when you guys were in college.
Oh,
that's fun.
And do you remember when we were all pumped up and we leave the movie and there's an identical Pacifica parked right next to us?
Okay, I vaguely remember this.
So I have the picture. Anyway, we
That's
can
funny.
talk about other stuff. I just like thinking about that. Like,
that's funny.
That's just what it came to our mind.
Pacifica.
That was the cool thing about moving to Park City, and then when you guys left, and then moved back and left. Anyway, but
Yep.
you know, because then when we went to college at the Y, you know, it was fun to share. You know, I brought up friends to meet you guys, or like in the summers, I got to come back home and work and, you know, be with you guys again. Anyway, that was really fun for me.
That was fun.
I liked that.
yeah,
I liked that too.
About living in Utah.
Yeah. Park City was it was good the first time, and then Allie left, went to school, and then wow. And then the middle of my senior year, we moved to Montreal.
Yes.
So, sorry, really quickly. It's interesting because for me, there are a lot of difficulties I had in Park City, but I look very fondly on my Park City years. I would say that to me, that was a big part. Like, that's when I had a lot of room to play outside. I think that's the most active I've like ever been. Which, you know, and that's including cross country. But like that's when
it was so beautiful. It was gorgeous there.
Living in an amazing place. I just like Christmas there was so magical. Like, you know, I don't know. There's just so much about it. That's when I discovered a lot of the interests that I have. And so for me, Ash and I have incorporated that into our marriage by visiting there a lot and just like doing fun activities there. And that's why Park City became our happy place, so to speak, is because I was like reclaiming some of those experiences I had when I was a kid. So
yeah,
awesome.
Yeah, I have fond memories. Well, it's interesting. It's kind of like, so this is interesting. It was a little bit the opposite of Indiana for me. Whereas, like Indiana, I had like really good memories, but then when I kind of dug deep, they were like really hard. And Park City, I kind of have hard feelings towards, but when I dig deep, it actually was really good. Which is kind of funny. But like, I mean, they were both really hard for different reasons. But but yeah, it was a good place.
I thrived the first time we moved to Park City.
Mm-hmm.
I had a great time. I was so lucky. Again, I think it's hard to know. I think I was really lucky in the timing of the move, the age I was at, because I was still young enough that people befriended me really quickly. And I had a really good group of friends like right away.
How old were you?
I was 11, almost 12. Because I think the older you get, the harder it is to make friends and find a good group. And so I was
Yeah,
really
I
lucky
agree.
with that move that I was still on the cusp of like, kids were a lot more open to welcoming a new friend and with a new friend. And
Yeah.
but the second time when we went back, that was a really tough move for me.
That was a weird. Not even it wasn't even a year. It was like, yeah, it was like 2010, 2011 ish. That was,
It was only like 10 months, right? Or
yeah.
like
All my
something
friends
like
had
that.
moved on, and I had a completely new group of people that I hung out with. I wouldn't even say friends. It was weird. Yeah.
It was weird when Jack and I went back. I mean, yeah, I don't know if it was exactly you had this experience too, Jack, but I was now older, and everyone had grown up, as had I. We all had different experiences, and going back, I thought I would just like jump right back in with all my friends that I had before, and I had a couple friends that we did, but the majority didn't, and it was bizarre. And I
Yeah,
felt like I
that's
had
hard.
to work for those friendships again, or they just didn't like happen. Yeah, that was a weird year. That was a tough one for me.
I'm glad that,
Yeah.
I'm glad that we made it through. I feel like, I don't know how it was for you, Abby, but London for me was a revelation. I thrived in London.
Yeah. Yeah, London was a funny one. I loved it. I had a great experience. I think because I knew I only had a year there, I made some great friends, but not any like super close. Like I didn't hang out with friends outside of school. Not really.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Like I went home and hung out with mom. Yeah, like me and mom would go into London on the weekends or like, do day trips, and that was amazing. And so that part of it was amazing. I did like the school too. I liked the challenge of it. It was much more like academically interesting to me.
Yeah, that's a really cool school.
Yeah. Yeah, that
Yeah,
was an
you
awesome
guys,
experience.
and I love how I really do think we all, especially like at different times, we like stuck together just more closely. Like in Park City, we hung out a ton. Like Montreal, you guys in London. Yeah, we just were each other's friends.
Yeah.
And it was fun. Like, yeah, Montreal, you guys were the only ones I had because I didn't go to school.
Yeah.
I just like finished online. And then we had our ward.
We had the maze for a bit and then they left.
The maze were awesome. They saved us. They saved me. But yeah, that was a weird place.
Yeah.
It is and I can say as a person who went back, it is one of the weirdest places ever in any galaxy. It's just
so, so weird.
Like there's this guy who he used to vacuum all the time because he didn't want the internet radiation to like come up through the floor, and so he would always ask us to give him blessings to banish the internet energy. And what was interesting though is that wasn't unique. That was the norm in Montreal. Like that
wasn't weird.
That was the starting point.
Oh my goodness. That was a
tough move as well. Like that was scary. I remember the first day of going to school at Face. It was so intimidating. I remember just bawling in the lobby, and poor mom felt so bad leaving.
It's a rough like inner city school.
Yeah, and it was 3/4 French.
Yeah.
So we didn't speak French. I didn't.
Well, my music teachers would just look at me blankly and ask me questions, and I'm like,
they were full on Quebecois. Like they did not care. You had to understand them or else. Like they didn't care. They weren't there to help.
Yeah.
You guys are so brave. So brave.
Had to,
I remember like standing there with mom, and mom was like,
me too, Ben. You were there.
Having, worried for you guys. And
yeah, because you saw the
and
other
I
side
just
of
was
that.
like, I'm so glad it's what, sorry?
It's interesting. Sorry, I'm interrupting. I want to hear your perspective.
Oh, you're fine.
I forget that you have the other perspective of it. If you saw, yeah.
Well, I just was really grateful it wasn't me.
Well,
I'm so glad I don't have to go. You guys were so brave. Like, I just remember thinking, like, oh my gosh, I'm so sorry.
Well,
I felt so bad.
I remember when Allie was leaving on her mission and she was detained for a little bit. Like she had like it was delayed, and so I came home from school and she had written all these like not motivational notes, but like trying to make me guilt trip notes where it's like, you're on the TV. Have you taken the dog out? Have you written your journal? Have you read a good book? Have you done your chores? That kind of thing. I was just like, what does Sue care about it? Like, because you feel that you're pumped up with the missionary,
gusto.
I was, and I'm so sorry. It was a holier than thou moment of like, we should be doing better, guys.
No,
and you guys survive school.
Yeah, and yes, no, I don't. It's not like this isn't blame in any way. It was just I feel like that was it was a manifestation of your mentality at the time. I'm sure some of it at least was fueled by anxiety and thinking about the mission and stuff like that. It's
and also
a lot of
my goals.
Yes.
Okay, also this is really random. Sorry, it's tangent, but maybe it was the day I was making those things. I was making cookies for you guys, and it was the first time I'd ever opened up an egg and blood came out with the egg.
I remember,
and I had already whipped up the butter and the sugar, and the egg, I was like, oh! And I freaked out. I've never seen this. What is up with Canada?
It's just Montreal. It's just a weird place.
Anyway, I remember I threw it all out, and then I had to go back. I can't remember if I had to go to a store, and then I had to go get more butter and sugar. But anyway. Sorry.
Did you go to the Dépanneur on Dr. Penfield?
Dépanneur.
But I guess my Montreal experience was very like getting excited for the mission, hanging out with the missionaries, and hanging out with you guys. Yeah. Trying to keep Zelly fun.
Yeah, well, and then you left from Montreal and you came back in London.
Yeah, you came back home to London.
We moved twice within that year and a half.
Yeah, you guys. Yeah. That was a whole thing.
Well, Allie was gone.
Yeah. So it was easy for me when I was on my mission because people like, where are you from? Like your parents and stuff like that. And I was like, Salt Lake. But you guys, it's like, I don't know, like what day is it? Where's my family now?
Where
in the world?
I left from my mission from England. From London, and so it had me as like a from London, and then so I was like an international missionary in the MTC.
And you got to go to Temple Square.
I gotta go to Temple Square, and I had seen it like a million times.
Yeah. So I was in the international branch too, but I missed going to Temple Square. I didn't care, but it was just funny. It was like, why am I here?
My district was so mad, and I was like, so I'm going. See you later, guys. I'm out of here for the day. Have fun.
So wait, that's a really good question. Like, what do you guys say when people ask you where you're from? Because that is the hardest question. And I always ask, like, well, what do you mean? Because like
how
on
much
my mission,
time you got?
Yeah, like in Argentina, they say where you from. That means where were you born? But I was like, well, I was born in New York State, but that has nothing to do with where I'm from.
Yeah.
Very little.
Well, so for those who don't know, I started in Portugal. I would just say I'm American.
Yeah.
I'm from America. That's what I would say. Because
that's what I was going to say. So since living outside the US, that's always my answer. And unless someone says where in the US, I just leave it at that. Oh, I'm American.
Where do you say when they say where in the US?
If I don't want to go into it, I'll just say Indiana. Like I'll say, I grew up in Indiana. Like my childhood was in Indiana. And then, or if I do want to explain, I'll say, "Oh, we moved every couple of years and like lived in several different places across the US." And that's usually enough of a long answer. They stop asking.
Yeah.
There's interest.
They've moved on.
Yeah.
I mean, I usually just say Utah. You know,
Yeah.
Sometimes in Canada, I would say I'm from California just to mess with people. Like Utah, and I was like, it's California. I'm like, oh yeah. Canadians don't even know geography.
So it's funny because like I never know what to say. I just say we moved around a lot. My parents are in Utah right now. That's what I usually say. But it's interesting because we lived in Texas the longest I've ever lived anywhere. But I don't feel like I'm from there, you know? Like
if you
What, Jack?
Saying like if you told college Elizabeth that you'd be living in Texas, she'd just been like,
no.
How dare you?
Similarly for me, the longest I've ever lived anywhere was actually Provo, Utah.
Yeah.
For college.
Like for college.
Yeah, for college. And then like with Brandon after. Anyway, that's like the longest I've ever lived anywhere.
Indiana's still my longest.
Yeah, Abby.
Wow, Abby. Holding strong.
Canada's the longest for marriage, but Indiana is still my longest anywhere. And now now Oliver's in the military, and every time I mention like, oh, I grew up moving around, everyone assumes Dad is in the military too.
Yeah, same. They're like military, and I'm like, no.
Witness protection.
Witness protection. I should use that next time.
The other day I said basically.
Yeah.
When someone
my dad was in the mafia.
I'm like, kinda. I mean, my dad
sure.
I could believe Dad's Italian. He's in the Italian mafia, you know. Saw some stuff.
Yeah, he could pass.
I don't know. He has to unbuckle
fudge face first. Oh my goodness.
Forget about it.
Yeah, I think, and then we all went to, well, it's interesting because we all moved, we all like served missions in different places, and like we were just like all over. We've always just kind of been all over the board at all times. I feel like even now we're all just kind of all over the place. And yeah, it's interesting, like, where are we from? And like, to me, like, it's so hard. I can't even imagine growing up in one place. Like,
it blows my mind anytime we go back to Reading, where Oliver grew up. Like when we go to their ward and we talk to people who have known him since he was a baby and watched him grow up, and were his primary teacher or his young men's president, or like literally the same house his whole growing up years.
It's like insane. Like, and Garen moved like houses, but like he's from the same area. And like it's interesting because people know him and his family, even though they're like in different areas. But like I think it's good and bad to like move places where people have no idea who you are, right? You don't have any history there. No one knows your family.
Yeah.
No one knows you.
When we got married, Mom and Dad lived in Salt Lake City, Utah. I'd never lived there. So I didn't really know people in their ward. I knew some people in Park City. A few people in Indiana who moved to Utah. But it's like, it wasn't a big wedding. Like, it weren't a lot of people there were a lot of people that I didn't know. Because I'm not like going back home to get married and invite everyone I know to the wedding, right? There wasn't actually like, it's strange.
Yeah. Yeah. Well, yeah, I remember like coming home from my mission and being like, I don't know anybody.
Hi, I'm Elizabeth.
Yeah, I remember thinking I could say anything in my coming home talk and it would not matter because like no one knows who I am. Like,
so you know that Tom Chapin song where he's singing about hometowns and he's like, everyone has a place to come from, and I'm like, shut up, you don't know what you're talking about. You don't know my life.
You don't know
You don't know me.
It's really sad in a way, though. I think that I do.
I know, that's a hard part about it.
More in that part about it, yeah. To not have like a home base where someone has watched me grow up outside the family, you know? Or like people still have seen me in different points in my life, but yeah.
Yeah.
I think it's a little sad.
It is sad.
Especially
and it's interesting.
Yeah, go ahead.
Well, it's interesting because like none of us are doing that for our kids either.
It's true.
Except Jack has stayed in Utah for a while.
We're all moving around too.
But we're all moving around.
Well, not all of us. Jack is
Ben
stayed put.
and Jackie so far.
That's true. They've been there they've been there like 9 years.
Well, they moved to a different house though. Wasn't it a different ward or was it the same ward?
I don't know.
Different school.
A little bit.
Yeah.
I guess in that way, maybe Ben isn't a dad clone.
One of the few ways.
The one way, yeah.
He's stayed in one place for a long time.
Point, Beth. As much as I'm more now, so we're moving around.
Yeah, like it's something that like I wish I had, but I'm also grateful for the experiences we had. And at the same time, I cannot stay in one place forever. Like that idea to me is so weird and like
suffocating.
It's suffocating. It does. Like it feels like I'm being caged, which is kind of weird. But yeah, but it's interesting. Like cuz I do want that like security, but I also want to live in different places.
I think as hard as moving around was and as difficult, I think no matter like something I'm coming to realize more and more, no matter what you do in life is hard. Whether you stay put, whether you move around, things change, things are hard, like trials come, and some things might be harder than others. I don't know, because I only experienced my experiences, right? But I think I appreciated so much of what I got out of moving around and living in different countries and different places that I've wanted that for my kids. As hard as it is, and as I know how difficult and things that we do miss out on are sad and hard, the benefits of learning how to meet new people and make friends and get along with people who are so different to you, people who speak a different language to you, people who have a different culture, religion, different color skin to you, being comfortable around people who come from a different background is so valuable, that I want my children to learn that. And yeah. And so I find that's been aside from just living in fun different places and getting cool experiences, that's a big motivator to me, because there's so many lessons that my children I feel like can learn, that it's hard to teach that without just living it.
Yeah, I love that, Abby. I agree. I think as hard as moving is, it teaches you a lot.
Resiliency
and resiliency. I think putting yourself out there, overcoming fears, and like you said, I think you can learn that in many different ways, not just moving. But moving definitely teaches you, and it forces you in ways that other things don't. And yeah, so I'm curious, do you guys mind sharing kind of like what you are like grateful for the most, or at least like maybe what you learned the most with moving, and then kind of what you least liked or appreciated?
I'm writing it down.
I think for me, I mean, the thing that I appreciate the most was new perspectives, new different kinds of people that I've met, and opening myself up to other possibilities. I learned how to use public transit at a young age, younger than I definitely would have, and so I feel like that really helped me get out of my comfort zone in a way that's helped me a lot. I still have trouble making friends, but not making friends as in like socially I'm great. I think I have trouble keeping friends.
Yes.
Yes,
me
that
too.
is me, Jack.
Same.
Like going deep. Like I can do surface level all day. I can talk to anyone. But like going deep and actually like creating those like deep connections, that's hard for me.
Or if you've managed to find someone that you've made a deep connection with, but staying in contact with them.
Yes.
Yeah.
I'm so bad at that.
That's
me too.
Yeah.
Because
we're used to leaving.
Around it.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And yeah, I've never been a bridesmaid ever. I'm still sad about it. And, you know, just because I've never had close enough friends.
What about our weddings?
Yeah.
We didn't really have bridesmaids. Sorry,
you weren't my bridesmaid, Allie.
If I did have bridesmaids, you would be a bridesmaid.
No, but what I mean is, right, I was never close enough to anyone
to be asked to be a bridesmaid.
To be asked. And then, like you said, just the keeping
or like
of
to be
friends.
there.
Yeah, to be there.
Yeah.
And like I still feel like I have friends, but I really do have so many anxieties when I think about like, oh, I want to reach out to this person, but then instead like I'm like, I don't know. I've moved on. My life is different now. There's probably is too, right? But it's always that moving on mentality that I just can't get over, right? And I still love them and want to keep in contact with Nieves and, with different people I've met on these awesome journeys in different places. But
I think I've learned, for me, it was how I survived moves. It sounds horrible, but if I didn't move on and just live, like be where I'm at, that's kind of always what I tell myself is throw myself into where I am, and that's how I can be happy and live my life and be surrounded by what I'm surrounded by. But then the sad part of that is I have learned, I naturally just move on. And so I'm not good at keeping in touch with really good friends because I've just learned to, I'm on to the next place. Now I'm just around these people and I might focus my attention on that. And it is sad.
Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah, I agree. I think it's interesting because luckily I feel like, I do feel like really good friendships are hard to come by anyway. But when you manage to find them, like it's so wonderful to have. But then like, when you move, it's like, it's hard because we know with our moving experiences, like that was so wonderful. I'm so glad we got to know each other. And I know it's going to be hard keeping in touch. And we just know that reality. And I think it's like sometimes easy to just kind of like accept it and move on instead of like fighting, because it takes a lot of work to keep in contact. Yeah. And we also know, and this sounds horrible, but like we also know we'll meet new people, right? And so it's that fighting of like keeping in contact with everyone we love and also making new friends in the place that we're in, it's like a hard balance.
And living in a place for only a short amount of time, you don't get the time to create those roots of a friendship, unless like I've come across a few people. Been very lucky. I have like 3 to 5 friends that were like immediately like what did they say in Anne of Green Gables? Kindred spirits.
Kindred spirits, yes.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And that's just lucky, right? Like it's lucky to find someone that you get along with so well. Because also, hard to as find. An introvert, I know someone's a good friend, and I know someone's a kindred spirit, as cheesy as it is to say, when my energy isn't depleted after being with them. Because I love being friendly, I love being social, but it often really depletes my energy. Whereas when I find a friend that I don't feel like I have to make an effort, that's a really good friend. And I'm not great at keeping in touch with them, but I know I've found one when we could not speak for a year or two, and then suddenly I send a message or they get a message, and we just start right back off from where we left off.
Yeah.
It's rare and it's hard to find. But I still feel guilty when I'm not in contact because they're so special that I'm still not giving enough to that friendship to help it continue to grow, if that makes sense as well.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Well, and I think too, and this is like a blessing and a curse, right? Because it's such a blessing that we've gotten to know so many amazing people in so many different places. Like that is such a wonderful thing. And it's a curse because you literally cannot keep in contact
with everyone,
all of those people at the same time. And so it's hard because you love them, and good friends do, you can connect, after years or whatever, and have it be fine and loving and stuff. But yeah, that's hard.
Yeah.
Yeah.
When you've met so many people across the US, across the globe, it's too hard to try and keep in touch with everyone because we've been so blessed to meet so many amazing people. But it's just, I mean, social media is great. I'm not good at posting, and I probably would be, would be better keeping in touch with people if I let people know what I'm doing. But I'm just not good at that either.
Yeah,
that's okay.
It takes work to keep in touch with all the people, yeah, and when you have a mother as extroverted as mom is, and just like makes nice connections, there are a lot of people to keep track of, a lot of people that still come to me and say, "I remember you when you were this, when you were tiny," and I'm just like, "Cool story, bro," Happens a lot around here, especially.
Yeah.
I bet.
Yeah.
But I guess one positive too from this, which by the way, this is really fascinating for me to learn. I didn't realize you all felt the same way I did, that I didn't have really good deep friendships. So this is really, really cool.
Yeah, same.
I mean, sad that but
we're all
unifying. But
we're all losers together. Just kidding. Just kidding.
But what's one of the things is that we became so close, right? We really did. I always knew I had my siblings. And even though I'm nuts, like I feel accepted and loved, with you guys. Like you all know I'm nuts, but you still love me. So I'm like, yay, you're my people.
We do love you, Ellie. But yeah, it's true. Like you guys know the ugliest parts of me, and but we're still really close.
I think that's why sometimes I didn't always make as much an effort, because I felt that need was being met by you guys, and so I didn't always seek out to put the time and the work into friendships, because I was like, I didn't need it because I had you guys. To me, that fulfilled that need.
That was sweet.
It's true though, because creating a good friendship takes a lot of work and time and effort, and unless you feel like you need it, you're not going to put the work in, right? And I think my needs were met by you guys, and so I didn't. Especially like Edward Albert Jack. I think that's why I say, in London, I had great friends. I had some really good friends, lovely people I met, some good friends at school. But I had you and Mom, and I felt like I was very much my friendship needs were met by you and Mom at that time. We would hang out together, and I loved spending time with you guys. And it's the same when you, Allie, and Elizabeth were home. We love being together normally. Right? We love so I think that meets a lot of our needs in that respect. Yeah.
Yeah, and we want to be together. We really make an effort we try to, getting together every year, and like we really love being together, which is awesome. Which I think is unique, honestly. I mean, I think a lot of people like being with their families, but like I feel like
we're weird.
Not a lot of families go through the effort we do to come together. But also not a lot of families live in different
countries.
Scattered across the four winds.
Yeah. Usually they like live close. Yeah.
That's true.
Yeah. This is sad, but also like helped me realize just how like good we had it, having each other while moving. But this last move, we moved from Fort Worth, Texas to Cincinnati, Ohio. And it was the first time where I didn't know anyone. And because even like going to college is different. Like everyone doesn't know anyone, and you all just,
it's a level playing field.
Yeah, and it's all fun, and you just get to know each other, and it's so great. And then we moved to Texas, and we had a connection there like immediately, and which we became like really good friends with, and it was great, and we like had friends immediately. And then moving to here, Ohio, was really hard. Like that was the first time I didn't have siblings, with me. I didn't have like friends, and it was so lonely. It was the loneliest I've ever felt, and I was like, oh my gosh, like I like have never been like looked back and like realized how much we like gave each other, or like were there for each other, like luckily moving was scary and it was really hard, but like we always had each other. Like we always knew we would come home from school and we could watch a Tingey movie together, or like jump on the trampoline. We just had each other, and that was really special.
Yeah.
And shout out to Mom. I really feel like she helped us build that and create that. She was really good about.
She was, yeah.
Yeah, creating family fun, and I don't know, just encouraging us. I mean, I don't think it was all her, obviously. Like, we chose to be with each other, but I think she helped kind of create that loving atmosphere of like, let's hang out, let's, and then we just also learned from that and did it ourselves.
Yeah, I think she really did. Yeah. And I don't know how she did it. She both helped us like play together and enjoy being with each other. And she also pushed us out of our comfort zone to like try new things everywhere we lived, and to like do stuff at the same time. Yeah. She's amazing.
We had very little choice in the matter.
Yeah.
Jack had none. No choice.
It's like, you're gonna do it. Yeah, like I mean, to be fair, that's one of the reasons why I jokingly called Dad a benevolent dictator. We have to do it. That's not an option. So you're just gonna adapt or die. It's not leaving you behind.
That's why we're really good at adapting.
Yeah.
Was it just Dad? I feel like Mom kind of fits into that too.
I think it was both.
I feel like when it came to the decisions, though, Mom listened to what Dad told her was going to happen.
Yeah.
That's a whole nother episode.
I think you had a really different experience with Mom and Dad after I left.
Yeah, I think you did too,
compared to what all of us had.
That's fair. Yeah, I think my perspective is a little skewed.
Well, also,
no, I think you just had all their attention.
Yeah, that's been fun. It's yeah, that's my therapist is very well aware. Yes, I got the food and got to travel a bunch. But it's made me have a lot of empathy and respect for Ashley's younger brother Aaron, because he's in a similar situation.
Yeah.
And so, yeah.
Sorry, Jack.
We should do another episode of like the place and family.
Mm-hmm.
Youngest child, middle children.
The middle child.
The middle child.
The keystone.
That's right. I stand by that.
Yeah. I know you said stone, but I heard kidney stone. I was a little
Elizabeth is the meat on the plain hamburger that is the Tingey family.
No pickles, no onions, no ketchup,
no cheese.
Nothing but the meat and the bun.
Yeah, that's you. You're the meat, Elizabeth.
What are you guys? The oil on the buns? Like in the middle?
The buns. You're the meat.
Okay.
Do you want to be the oil? I'm okay with being the buns.
Abby's like the
drop them if you got them.
Abby's the lettuce and the tomato, like the fresh and crispy and delicious.
Where are we going with this?
Allie's like the spice. Allie's the spicy mustard, like the sauce.
Am I the pickles because I'm salty?
Yeah. You said it, not me.
And Ben is the mayo.
Why the mayo?
Or no, I guess maybe he can be the spicy mayo.
The spicy
mayo. Cheese, isn't he?
Oh.
I'd say Mom is the cheese.
That sticks us all together.
Yeah. Were you there when Mom tried to get us to carol to people outside of the bathrooms at Temple Square?
No.
I actually was.
Made us carol in many places, but I don't remember that.
You remember when
trying to get it going?
Introducing Oliver as my special friend that every day we went to.
What is our family?
She's Mrs. Bennett.
Yep.
Oh. Well, this is awesome. You guys are so fun. Do you have any? Yeah.
I have developed a new respect and admiration for Mom and Dad. Now being the parent who's moving her children around. I mean, obviously the army's moving us around, but we chose to have Oliver join the army. It's hard, and I know as hard as the moves were on us, they were probably harder on Mom and Dad.
Yeah.
I know that they made those choices, but it was also kind of some of them happened. The circumstances made them so, and others is just what felt right at the time, I guess. But I think especially Mom, I mean Dad, I'm sure as well. It's scary starting a new job and being the new person in town. It's scary to be that in school. I can't even imagine in a workplace. But Mom, we moved. Mom had to do the whole move. Dad would go off to work, and then that was it. Like she had to sort everything: our schools, our doctors, our dentists, all the admin with that. She had to set up our life. And so as hard as it was for us, being the mom now, the parents now, with Oliver and I doing it together, the fear and the nerves that you feel for your kids starting at a new school, or like as exciting an adventure it is, it's still life, right? And it's still you worry how hard it's going to be for your kids. And so I found a new respect for Mom and Dad, and I don't think I always thought how hard it was for us, but I think it was harder for them.
Yeah. Well, finding a new support system, making new friends, like they had to do all that too. But it was like higher stakes, I feel like.
Mm-hmm.
I felt that last year because we moved in November, and so London had to switch schools, and she was in kindergarten. Like it wasn't even like that old, or but that was the hardest thing, was dropping her off and her being scared and me saying like, you can do it, and just like leaving her. That was terrible. It's really hard. Yeah.
Well,
It's a great point.
And Abby, I'm so glad you brought all that up. And it's amazing and sad to watch the repercussions of it for them as well, right? Because they also don't have deep friendships from, they also are struggling right now with like, what do? We don't have hobbies. We don't have, people we go hang out with. Like it is sad to see and scary. Like, oh, this is what happens, right? They get stuck with grandma. We love grandma, but they're always with her, So you need to edit this out, Beth.
Like Grandma Jane. So I wonder how many years of my life I've lived with Grandma Jane. Because transition of like when we first moved to Utah. Remember? Yeah. We stayed. Yeah, we stayed with Grandma for a while.
I don't remember, but I don't have a great memory.
That one I remember because I remember playing with Lego on her fireplace thing. And then there was that one time when it was literally just me, Elizabeth, and Abby at home there. Because, like, for some reason, parents weren't there. Do you remember that?
Vaguely.
I think I remember that, yeah.
Trying to remember.
We watched Sunday with a Chance a lot.
For a bit.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah, and then, of course, Ashley and I for over a year, somehow.
That's right. You guys did live there.
Yeah.
You guys are amazing. Are there any other last-minute thoughts or anything anyone wants to add?
We survived.
We survived.
Physically.
Look at us now.
We've lived to tell.
Emotionally, mentally, there remains to be seen.
So when Biff and I had talked about something like this for a couple months ago, and I looked up this article, and it was talked about how moving to a new town or even a new neighborhood is stressful at any age, but a new study shows that frequent relocations in childhood are related to poor well-being in adulthood, especially among people who are more introverted or neurotic.
Is my name mentioned in the study?
I laughed and laughed, but it also is kind of sad, right? But at the same time,
also cried.
But just again, so grateful that we have each other, and like obviously there are traumas from it, right? Like there are difficulties and trials that we all had to deal with, and at the same time, we all grew and learned and became who we are. So it's been really fun to talk about it, Biff.
Yeah. Thanks. I'm glad. Thanks you guys for being willing. But yeah, it's good to like know we're not alone. We still have each other, even though we're not living with each other. But yeah, I think we're going through some of the same trauma. Working through all that. But yeah. But like you said, it's like we are who we are. It's helped to make us who we are. And for that I am grateful, for the things I did and have learned through it.
It's really good to talk through this because I've always thought like, oh, we all had such different experiences. But Ali, it's so interesting how you said like, oh, I didn't know you guys felt this way too. But even though we all had such different experiences in different places and different ages, we still have a lot of the same struggles.
Yeah.
And same positive memories and positive things from it as well. I know it's easier to dwell on the negative, I think, than but
I loved London too. I was so glad you guys lived there. I got to go visit.
Yeah,
London was awesome.
That was like everyone's favorite place.
I mean, come on, it's London.
Every Thanksgiving, I think of our Thanksgiving in Round Jack.
And then also, Mom and Dad living abroad, like first in Montreal and then in London. It made me want to. That was one of my goals. I told Brandon when we were dating and engaged, like, I want to live abroad. And we did. And we're going to again. That's hopefully. Again, someday.
That's
now.
one of our
I
goals.
wish. Right? But like
we haven't
it's
made
just,
it
like,
yet, but
opened
it's
my
a goal.
world. It opened my mind, my
Yeah.
life, my world, and I'm so grateful for it.
Mhm.
Yeah.
So anyway,
That's true. I think definitely made us, who we are. And enjoying travel and not being afraid to travel and not being afraid to be in different places where they speak different languages, or it really teaches you a lot.
I mean,
Yeah.
I wouldn't say I don't have any fear now because it still makes me nervous.
Well, yeah.
But I think that I don't let that stop me.
Yeah.
Because I'm still
Like, you can do it.
Yeah. Yeah.
you know you can do it. You can do it. You can do it. A mom.
Which that cheer never helped. Yeah. One constant was being embarrassed by Mom everywhere we went.
True. Oh, so funny.
Oh, and another is laughter together.
Yeah.
Mhm.
It's a good one. You guys are awesome. I'll turn off the recording. We can still talk after if you want, but thanks so much for all your input and words. What were you going to say, Allie?
Oh, just like, how long are we going to chat? Because I'm an old lady. I got to go to bed.
Gotta go to bed. All right, signing off for now.